Yeah, I agree. I think it's two evenly matched teams. It's going to be interesting how this one pans out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So same place that we've seen from Turkey, you know, in terms of their previous games, which again says that they're really comfortable where they've been playing, and that, you know, it plays into their areas of strengths as well. How do you feel when you, Louis, as a player, are getting ready for that first ball to the jack?
It's a pretty important shot, I believe, because it kind of sets the tone of the end if you can get it in front and force your opponent into you know, playing a couple of shots.
Just like that.
That's a great start. Great start. Really nice angle on that. But yeah, I think it's just important to stay relaxed with it and focus about where you want your first ball to go. What do you think the shot is here?
So I think, you know, you ideally want to open this up now. You know, and I think that's where, as a pair, working out the balance between who takes the power shots, who does more of the laying up. You know, and Blas here, he's going to take the opportunity to open up and swing that red round. Yeah. So let's see if he can manage it.
I think it was in the wide box as well. He's probably got slightly more of an angle.
Yeah, just wide there. So again, this is obviously a really important stage of the game where, you know, they have to then think: do we take another shot at it? Do we build our strategy a little bit differently, or do we start to be defensive early? Because obviously, you know, as we know from our games, that the first end can be so crucial.
Yeah.
But again, that's a really important little hit there, because although you don't always have to hit the ball miles away from the jack, just open it up enough to give yourself an angle and an opportunity for a follow-up shot.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's given opportunity for both players to play now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like Natasha will play up now. I don't think it's right to hit it again at this stage of the game. Still try and create space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want to defend too early.
It's a little bit wide there from Natasha, but again, probably still a bit of an angle in for both of them, which is good, because obviously when you miss, you want to miss well, to make sure that you've still got options, or you can use the ball that you've just played.
Yeah, if you can lay up behind that blue onto the white ball now, it offers more protection too.
Yeah.
So it's not disastrous. However, using 4 balls, it could potentially be a problem at the end of the ends. Maybe Turkey could have a chance to score some points.
Yeah, because we've seen from previous games that you know, Yaha, he's got a lob in him. You know, he's got the ability to open things up and you know, and create space. So yeah, the Slovenians want to make sure they can shut this down a little bit. A little bit of a mistake there, just pulling to the left rather than the other side. So again, this is probably where strategy starts to shift.
Yeah, 100%. I think now it's not about trying to get closer, but how do we close the scoring circle down? I think you still want a ball in front of the white though. Looks like Blas is going to try and go for that now.
So it's interesting they've caught that similar line again, and it's so easy as a player or as a pair to do that, isn't it? You just kind of find that same pattern.
Yeah, they're all just slightly to the left so far. So last ball for Slovenia.
So there's a real opportunity now for Turkey.
Do you think Turkey will try and create space, move the white back, or?
I think because of the lines that they've probably both got into it, I think they might move it back a little bit. So if you see the line on the floor where obviously the mats join,
yeah,
you know, probably taking the jack back into that sort of area, gives them then both a really nice line in. You know, but obviously there's a pressure here now for them because they can see that there's an opportunity to score and get ahead early in the game. But it's about staying composed and really thinking it through. They might just say, look, let's try and get 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
He's found that same line as well, which is really,
interesting. Yeah, everything's just pulling left slightly.
But again, it's probably not a disastrous miss because it's in a line where she'll be able to potentially knock that in.
Yeah, promote it up.
Yeah, that's a really good connection. Really good connection. It's always such a hard skill as a player when you've had a miss and your technique's gone to create that miss, to then make the good correction to come back in and get the shot.
Yeah. I think that's where it's really important to just take a bit of time, reset, and have the confidence to go again. This might be difficult to score. Big, you know, 4 or 5 now.
Yeah.
Because that scoring
it's
side
interesting she's going to come up the right-hand side there. Obviously, you can see a bit more of the red. And potentially, depending on obviously how soft his red that missed to the left, it might be quite difficult to push that in.
Yeah. I played Yaya in the individual matches and he's got a couple of really, really soft victory balls. So maybe that's why they've gone for a more strategy of laying up here.
Yes, that's a really solid first end from Turkey to go 2-0 up, especially on obviously on their own end and holding that victory from the first end. So it'll be interesting to see how Slovenia respond to that and come back at them with their jack position and getting the chance to put the first ball on it and see what they can create.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be a similar sort of position, just on the other cross-court side. So it'll be interesting to see how Turkey responds to that different angle of the jack. But it always helps when you get such a good first ball like Turkey did.
Yeah.
You can dictate the end from there.
Yes, so obviously we've got the 1 minute between the ends just now. Obviously with the BC4 game we're a little bit quicker than the team games and the threes games, but as soon as we have end scores for those, we'll give you a few updates as well. How do you enjoy the 1 minute in between, Louis, as an athlete?
I think the 1 minute's a really good addition and change to the sport because it's a really good opportunity to kind of come together with your team and your coach and kind of discuss the previous end and also what you need to do going forward. For us, we as a team, we kind of conceded early on by quite a big score. So I think we had to kind of use those 1 minutes in between the ends really effectively to try and fight back. But it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, Claire, as a coach. Like, what messages are you trying to get across in the 1 minute, and do you think they have a big impact on your players?
Yeah, I like you. I think they're a really good addition because obviously previously we used to get access to 1, maybe 2 timeouts if your opponent picked one. But I really like them because we know going into it the kind of things we want to reinforce. We want to reinforce our jack position. We want to think about positive reflections from the first end or the second end, whatever end it's been, and use that just to get a little bit of recovery where needed, reinforcement of our key principles and points of what we're doing. So yeah, it's always good value, and it's often a wee sprint at the end as well to get back to the chair.
Yeah, always when there's 10 seconds left, we've got to speed it up.
So obviously Natasha's got the first ball here. As a very experienced player, it's often felt that it's easier to do this, but actually it's probably not, because you probably understand more the impact of a quality first ball. But Natasha's someone who always looks very calm and controlled, so hopefully she'll be able to reflect that in her first ball here.
Left slightly again.
Yeah. and a little bit shorter, because sometimes a short first ball is okay,
Yeah.
and actually forces your opponents into decisions. But as you can see from here, Yaya's got a clear line
Yeah.
into the jack.
Yeah, it's definitely his shot.
Yeah.
Try and take control of the white and this end.
Yeah. And straight away you're forcing Slovenia onto the back foot if he can get this cover in the jack. That's lovely and straight.
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
that's a great shot. And again, even though it's shorter, it cuts down the angles.
Yeah. It's got the position of the court now. You know, if Slovenia decide to lay up the side, you can just promote it on. And if not, you're forcing them into a difficult shot to move it without just promoting it onto the white ball. So that's a great ball. Do you think there's a line in between the blue and the red?
I think there could be, actually.
Yeah.
Natasha looks like she's lining up to take it on. It might be that she thinks she's got an angle onto her blue as well. I would worry that if you hit the blue, it might go to the left of the jack.
Yes.
But even if she tipped in off the red,
exactly,
you know, as a little ricochet shot. But again, the key thing here is getting the pace on it to get it through that gap. So although it's obviously she's caught the red, it potentially gives Blaza away as well.
Another ricochet potentially.
Again, we're in a position now where there are 2 balls in. This is going to be ball number 3. So whereas Turkey have been really efficient with their early balls in the end, the Slovenians have been chasing the shots.
Yeah.
They've been behind on ball numbers, which obviously it puts more pressure on each shot that you play.
Definitely. I think the ricochet here is a good option, but to try and use the red ball as a defensive, we'll try and get a 2-ball block in. Wrong side,
and probably just a wee bit more pace needed on it. But he's obviously got possession. But again, really easy for Turkey to just come in here now and either push that red in and just kill the end a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting watching both these teams play because all 4 players are very calm looking.
Definitely,
you know, they're not, you know, high energy, high volume athletes. They've both countries have got great support behind them. In terms of the that's a great shot. In terms of the support they've got here at the end of the court, but actually all 4 players are really calm and relaxed looking.
I think this Boccia's a game though where you need to have such focus and kind of that calm temperament is really, really important, especially when such accuracy is needed.
So this probably gives Slovenia a little in, because obviously the red probably just came a little bit tucked around the jack there, so it's maybe not over yet.
No, not yet.
Which is exciting.
Yeah. I think Natasha's got a line now onto the jack.
Yeah, because you can use that red a little bit as well, just to give her a little bit of comfort in terms of being able to put the right pace on the ball.
Yeah, you definitely want to be positive with this. So I think it's quite important to try and win the end if Slovenia can.
Oh, it looks like Blaza's going to go for it instead.
Okay.
But again, he's probably got quite a straight line into it.
Right pace.
Yeah.
It's just a line.
Probably makes it a bit difficult for Natasha now as well.
Yeah.
And again, this is really key where, you know, at the moment, Yaya's got a really nice line in. Fatma's not got really anything she can see, so it might be, you know, where Natasha puts this ball will be really relevant as to what they can do following on from this. That's a good ball.
Yeah.
That's a really good ball from Natasha. Just shuts down that scoring zone straight away and actually probably makes it a little bit sticky in there, a little bit more difficult.
I think that forces Turkey to be quite proactive about how they score their points. Just wondering if Yaya can take the white back enough to kind of create more space to score, or if they'd just be content with a game plan that gets them just to 1 point.
Yeah.
3-0 up at the halfway stage isn't bad at all.
And at this stage, you know, it'd be interesting to see if it's 1-1 or if the Blues holding, you know, because that potentially shapes how they approach the end as well.
From the overhead camera, it looks like the Blues definitely touching. Just not quite sure about the red. Claire, how important do you think it is using your whole box for shots like this to get the best angle?
Yeah, I think it's massively important. I think both in terms of the length of the box and the width of the box, because that's a super shot.
Fantastic.
That is a superb shot from Fatima there. You know, just really clear. She used the box really well, just as we were talking about there, and you know, put everything behind that shot, and you know, straight away they're holding 2 now, with a lot of space to score more. Fantastic.
Yeah, they don't need to move the jack now. Yeah, plenty of room.
And you notice there that Fatima didn't move either, because she was really confident in the line. And there you go, there's why. A tremendous shot to come in and score another point. She'll stay in the same place again potentially. Like so, although Yaya's about to take the shot, obviously she's still got another ball, but she hasn't moved yet, so that she can trust that line that she's got. Oh, brilliant.
Really effective balls there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just like that, a situation where it's 1 to blue, maybe 1 all. It's now 4 to red.
Yeah, with 1 ball still to play.
Yeah, might be a measure for 5.
You would definitely ask for it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a really well worked end there from Turkey. It just shows you that, you know, key balls in position don't have to be on the jack.
Yeah.
It's about getting into position so that you can force your opponents to play, force them to use up balls, and then when you get the opportunity, play a killer shot to give yourself a little bit of space, and then trust your technique to be able to pull the balls in there and score some
points. Your points. I think that's 5.
I think you're right. I think referee Michaela looks like she's indicated that it's potentially 5. I think Natasha wants a measure here, so we'll watch and see what happens. So in the meantime, we'll have a little look at the other scores.
So on court 5 after the first end, that's the BC4 bronze medal match. So Turkey won the first end 1-0 on court 5. And then on court 7, so that's the BC1 and 2 teams, bronze medal match. France are 3-0 up against the Czech Republic.
Right, a good afternoon so far for the team from Turkey.
Yes, yeah, they're doing very well. Yeah, that's 5 points.
Like 5.
Fantastic end from Turkey.
So that really settles the nerves down now, doesn't it? It's your, well, not that they look nervous, but that really settles you in, you know, because you're, you know, 7-0 up after 2 ends. And now it's the key thing is, what does Slovenia come back with?
Don't know. Boccia is a game of 2 halves, but it's quite a big score to try and to claw back. And I feel like Turkey can be so confident going into this third end. You know, even if you lose it by 1 or 2, you're still in so much control of this match.
And as an athlete in this situation, you're obviously 7-0 up.
Yeah.
You're about to play the jack ball again. Yeah. They'll undoubtedly stick to their same strategy.
Yeah, I think
they don't need to change anything. But at what point do you keep playing the way you're playing, or do you almost think about game management and you know, where do you get the right balance for that, so you don't suddenly park the bus or become really defensive, but actually how do you make sure that you just keep taking that game forward?
No, I think the game management is so important here, because I'd personally be thinking about how can you position balls to not risk losing big, or how can you force Slovenia into shots early, because at the end of the day you're not going to be able to accumulate big points if you only have 1 or 2 balls left at the end of the end. So there's a couple of ways to restrict the score, but I think always having that in mind is important, even if you have to kind of adapt that way to do it as the end progresses. But to be honest with you, Turkey have looked so consistent with their layups here. They can get a really nice jack first ball again, and it may be enough to see them through this match.
Absolutely, and I think because they're the way they've had balls left to play with at the end of the end, it gives them the confidence to, to build the end properly from start to finish. So again, Jack in the similar position, and I think we'll absolute faith that we'll see a very good first ball here. Yeah, excellent.
Wow.
Really good.
It's perfect. I think that little gap in between the red ball and the jack's actually really effective too. Because when you go to knock it off, sometimes you can get a stick. That you don't when they're both touching, you can kind of spring the jack ball out, but it's so much harder to do that when there's that little gap there. So it's a great first ball.
Yeah, and I think as well, because Blas can obviously see a little bit of the white, it forces a question.
Yes.
Is that a question where you just try and get rid of it, or do you try and do a placement shot and go on the jack? But yeah, that's a really good first knock off for Slovenia, because actually it opens it up, right? So the key now is how do you follow that up?
Yes.
How do you get in control of the jack so that you start to make Turkey do the hard work?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a really nice pocket that Blas has created there for Natasha to hopefully lay up into and put a bit more pressure on Turkey now.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Excellent ball.
Brilliant two-ball play there from Slovenia.
And that's where it's so important as a pair, isn't it? That you can combine shots.
Yes.
And both really bring in to get the outcome that you want.
Yeah, I think having that balance from the pair and the ability for both of you to play those shots after each other as well is just so key, because that's kind of the efficiency that Turkey are playing with in the first two ends, which has helped them accumulate the 7-0 lead.
So obviously just a little discussion there with the referee, because Yaya went into Fatima's box to almost sort of have a look at her line, and obviously it's something that the rules are starting to discourage, which I think is good, because actually you want players to be able to play their own independent shots. I think sometimes people don't necessarily realise that actually it's quite nice to see what your teammate can see, and it's about how you manage that really well. So it's a good hit, but obviously you can see the quality of the ball from Natasha hasn't really shifted that much, but you do have a little bit more visual of the jack now.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so effective with Blas's initial knockoff to keep the red ball in, so you can create these kind of pockets of balls and make it quite difficult to move.
So this will be a really interesting point in the end now, because obviously that's a missed ball, but it's in front, and it'll be interesting to see actually do Turkey start to build it up now and block it in so that actually they become quite defensive, or actually are they going to try and attack it? That was probably one where it was interesting there, where I wonder if she was trying to knock the red on.
Yeah.
But now you can see they've got 2 out of their 4 balls behind.
Yeah.
So actually it's probably quite crucial, because again this is where we flick into game management.
Yeah.
How do you manage the end so that you're not losing a big score? So again, the weight on that shot's good, but probably the wrong side.
Wrong side. Yeah, this could be a big opportunity for Slovenia to get back in this game. Where would you put this last ball?
I'd probably try and tap into coming up the right hand side of her red. You want something that's in front of that, the blue and the white, because you want to be able to protect the risk of that getting moved on, and I don't think that does it. So
it's quite 2 aggressive shots out of the last 3 balls there.
Yeah.
Because I imagine Blas can see all of that from his wide ball.
And he's got a really nice long straight delivery. So if he can do that, and it's whether he tries to move maybe one of the sort of the shorter reds and springs that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, obviously, if he pushes the jack 2 back, then Natasha's probably blocked by those reds. Or to just build up the side. Yeah,
I think building up the right side could be quite good. I think you'll get a little bit of movement on the jack back to create a tiny bit more space. But if you can create 2 balls to the right of the jack, well, the left of the jack as we're looking at it, then it gives Natasha a target.
Yeah.
To maybe score 1 or 2 more. You know, you could leave this end with 3 or 4 points here, which puts you right back in it.
And again, both teams are really comfortable on time. You know, they're both pretty efficient teams in terms of how their speed of play. So that was interesting. She also went for a bit of a lob shot. Obviously, a reasonable distance. I'm not sure it's a shot I would have gone for at that point. Because actually I think it probably just makes it a little bit tougher for them to kind of see past that red.
Gone for it again.
Oh,
Wow.
Well, there we go. That's me wrong.
Yeah. Well, the objective was to move the jab back.
Yeah.
From our angle, it looks like Laz in the white box has the ability to do that along the ground to get the same result. And the lob is usually more difficult. I'm wondering here if you take the red out from the back, how many points you score.
I think the other reds would still be ahead of that blue. So I think at this point you play your last 2 balls in.
Just
get 3 points. And unless you took the red out and tried to take the jack a little bit with you. But again, the ball you play doesn't stay in. So I think your safer option here is to play the shots in for 3.
The execution on the second lob shot, though,
it was tremendous.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was, the best decision or not, the execution on the shot was incredible.
Yeah. And she got a really good bit of distance on the jack,
Yeah.
so it really opens it up. And actually, they can use that other red as a bit of a marker.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is the size of the zone that we're trying to score in.
Absolutely.
So if you were in Turkey's shoes right now and you were watching this unfold, what goes through your mind at this point when you're sitting there and your opponents have got multiple balls left, you're 7-0 up, but you're potentially losing 2 or 3 here.
Yeah.
How do you reset?
I think for me it's important to try and remain positive. Like, you still got 7 points in the first 2 ends, and kind of remind yourself of that fact.
Yeah, that's a really good shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And although, again, it looks like Slovenia are going to get 2 or maybe 3 in this end, that's still 4 points is still a lot, So I think initially it's acknowledging that. But then once you've done that, it's about, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I still need to execute the remaining shots. And actually, that context is kind of independent of how I throw my last 3 balls in the pairs or 6 in the individuals. But yeah, for me, it's just trying not to panic, and remembering that the advantage that you've still got, having accumulated a lead earlier on in the game.
They're now down to 30 seconds, so there's a wee bit more added pressure on the shot.
Yeah.
But you've still got loads of time.
Yeah, I think 1 ball should be okay. Yeah, well done.
Excellent.
Great
They're 2 really good,
yeah.
2 really good shots as well. Because actually sometimes when you've got a big space to play into, you either don't concentrate as much or you panic a little bit. So 3 points. Good to get them on the board, and we'll make for a very interesting final end.
Yeah, it's back. Game on. So Slovenia obviously need 4 points for a tiebreak in the final end. Do you think that'll change their position? Is it worth going longer?
Oh, it's a great question, because actually in terms of the skills and abilities of the players, I think all the players here, can play anywhere on court.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just about how consistently you can do that further up when your comfort is in that shorter area. It wouldn't surprise me if they pulled up a little bit. So maybe just about cross length, rather than going for a Hail Mary up the top of the court. Because I think it's almost a misconception in Boccia. I think a lot of people think you only go long when you're desperately panicking. Oh, that might just be 2. But actually, the reality is when you go long, if you're trying to score lots of points, if you think you can go long to score lots of points, why don't you do that anyway?
Yeah.
And I think that's something it's always really interesting. So that might be a little let off for the Turkish team there, if that's just 2. Yeah,
Just
so that's
2 points.
two points
Yeah.
on the board.
It's hard now for
Yeah.
Slovenia. Really difficult.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Turkey will be happier coming out of that end than Slovenia will. Because that was probably quite a big opportunity to work yourself right back into the game that they haven't quite taken advantage of.
Yeah. Shall we do a little scores update
Score check.
from our around the grounds?
Also, on court 5, it's still 1-0 Turkey. So that the second end hasn't quite finished yet. Court 7, wow. Court 7, so the Czech Republic have brought it back to 3-3.
Perfect. That's going to be an exciting game
Yeah.
all the way through if it's in a high scoring game as well.
Yeah, well, it is 3 points on each end. That's incredible. But yeah, the BC4 is nice and fast onto the last end already.
Efficient, I think.
Is that, sorry, yes.
So yeah, I think you're right though. From the Turkish team there, you think we're probably losing 3, to then only lose 2, and that gap between that search for 5 points versus 4 points is quite significantly different. So it will be interesting to see if they do anything different.
Yeah.
See,
I think staying short in your original position is still quite a legitimate strategy to play, because potentially in the first end, second end, and third end, there was chances for 4 or 5 points for one side. So maybe they'll just hope they're on the right side of that.
Yeah. So they've kept it short.
Yeah.
So again, another important moment in the game. Can you get a first ball on that forces your opponents to start to use some balls?
Oh.
That's a little bit of pressure there, isn't it? That's just too much adrenaline, overcooking the shot. So again, Turkey have an opportunity now to just come in and shut this down very quickly.
It's interesting though, because if Turkey don't, and you have an opportunity to get it on, that blue behind is fantastic in terms of trying to score points. But yeah, world class, really, accuracy, so consistent.
And I think that's what we've seen from the teams that have been here this week. A lot of the teams, Slovenia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, we've not seen as much of over the last year or so. Just due to the nature of events and coming out at the start of a new cycle. And I think what you can really see is that these teams and pairs have gone away and they've worked really hard over the COVID lockdown periods and the games period, where they weren't obviously competing out in Tokyo, and you can see the standard has increased. And I think that's really exciting for the sport. And I think when you see, obviously we're now male and female pairs, you can see lots of consistent pairs getting established. And I think that's really exciting. I know I've done some work with the coaching staff out in Turkey when they did their training, and they've got a really good setup there. And I think that's where so many countries are now starting to develop the system around the players. And it's just really exciting for the sport.
100%. It's just that depth and quality nowadays is fantastic to see.
That was a really good knock off there. Opens the jack up a little bit. And again, the key thing is getting that combination of shots between players. So again, a really lovely line on the shot.
Line's brilliant.
Just a little bit short.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Slovenia to win this match now.
As a player, when you get to this point in the game where you probably know that you can't win the game, how does it feel? How does it feel having to finish the game off? And what do you play for in a sense?
It's difficult because you do know, like, whatever you do, it's going to be really tricky to get the 5 points. But I think you still always want to execute well and just play the sport that you enjoy. And I think that's enough, And we talk about how do we carry momentum through a tournament? So if you've got another game, how do you finish strongly so you can carry that in, take the positives from that into the next one? So yeah, it's just you just want to stay focused and play as the best you can at all times.
So again, that for me, that's a really important shot there, because even though it doesn't take possession of the jack, you're starting to shut it down.
Exactly, you're just closing it down.
You're managing the game, managing the end to get it over and done with as quick as possible, so you can start preparing for getting on the podium.
Yeah, and to support their teammates in the BC3 bronze medal match.
Absolutely. Which I think I've now gone on to end number 3 from where we can see. Oh, maybe not then. My viewing angle's not quite as good as it maybe should be.
Another ball in and around.
Yeah, and when you can see, although the Blues are still holding, already 2 of those Blues are out of the game.
Yes.
Or one of them definitely. The shorter one could potentially get pushed in, but because of the position of the Reds, it's really difficult to get the points you need.
No, definitely, because if you try and push that short red in, short blue in, you're probably going to lose the ball that you're throwing.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult now. That's
a
great shot. That is phenomenal.
So again, it's a really good position just to tap that up, close the end down, potentially take the point, and force the Slovenians to play out.
Brilliant ricochet shot though.
Again, you can see we talked about before, she's using her box really, really well.
Yeah.
Giving herself as many angles as possible. Again, shutting it down, and that's really, really important. And you can see they've switched into, right, we're just going to see this game out now.
Yeah.
We've got to control it as much as possible and get ourselves over the line.
Yeah, get yourself a bronze medal. It's really nice, just straight throws from players. There's another one.
It's obviously a really difficult challenge now for Slovenia in terms of trying to create a bit of space and try and score a couple of points. But yeah, the 5 is beyond them now.
Yeah.
But again, you always want to try and
do it.
Try and narrow the scoreboard down as much as possible.
Yeah. Don't know if it's worth another lob. Does he anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you've just got to go for it and hope for the best.
Exactly.
Just getting a little wave there from our teammate Lilana, who's obviously preparing for the gold medal match with Robin later on in the BC3s. So wish them luck.
Yeah. Good luck, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully he can bring home a gold medal for Great Britain.
So obviously the Slovenians have had a good long talk this time about what they're going to do. So let's see what they've come up with. Obviously went for a little bounce shot in there. I think it's a really difficult one, because obviously if you don't naturally have the lobbing ability, it's a really difficult one to come in, and particularly when you know that the game's done. It's really difficult to execute, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you just lose that clarity a little bit on what you're trying to do, and I think that's so important in this game. Before you throw a ball, know what you're trying to achieve from it. So, I imagine the last ball of this bronze medal match.
So obviously my prediction at the start, it was going to be a really tight game, tight scoring game. Turkey threw me under a bus a little bit
Yeah,
there.
they dominated
They
it.
came out the traps really quickly,
Yeah.
and scored well early on, and then have managed the game really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
They decided not to play.
Opted not to play the ball, which you can understand because actually there's very little on for them.
Exactly.
They're holding the point, take the point. It's a 7-3 scoreline. A fantastic result for Turkey to get onto the podium and come with a bronze medal.
Yeah, fantastic. I think the accuracy at the start of all 4 ends was just superb. That helped them create opportunities to score big. So congratulations, Turkey, bronze medal.
Absolutely, and well done to Slovenia for a really good tournament.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll both have a couple of good tournaments ahead this year.
I think so.
Do we want to do a quick score update before we go?
Yeah. So on court 7 in the BC 1 and 2 team bronze medal match, it's still 3-3, and between France and Czech Republic. Looks like the third end has just coming to an end. And on court 5, still waiting for the second end to finish, I think. Still 1-0 to Turkey.
The team score has just been updated, so the Czech Republic have gone ahead. So the Czech Republic are 4-3 up after the third end. So that'll be an exciting one. Obviously, the Czechs have come back from 3-0 down to take the lead.
Yeah, take the lead.
And Turkey are looking good in the BC3 bronze medal match as well. 3-0 up now after the 2 ends. So it could be a wild party for the Turkish delegation this evening.
Brilliant.
I'm sure they'll make some noise. Well, thank you all very much for listening to Louis and I chat away through the game. I think it's been a great game and a great tournament itself. I think the hosts here have done a great job of showcasing Boccia and putting a really good environment in for all the athletes in the teams here as well. So I guess while we're here, we just want to say thank you to everyone for pulling it together.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's a brilliant place to play Boccia. It looks immaculate. Behind the scenes, all the organisation's amazing as well. Food's brilliant. This streaming, it's incredible. And makes you even more excited for the European Championships next year with all the other sports. And I'm sure it's going to be just as brilliant, if not a bit more. So can't wait.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.